So next, what we will do is I will help you on your attendance check. So check on your attendance. So we will work on the question number 7 and 8 together. So before I keep continue, make sure you pause the video and download the file for your computer skill 4, because we're going to using this file again, and to help us to do the calculation for your attendance check. Okay, let's see question number 7 and 8. So that's literally related to what we just learned. So what is the 95% confidence level of the mean consumption for the years with a disposable income 5,000 billion? So you will notice that for this question we are looking for confidence interval for mean of consumption, y. So confidence interval for mean of y. So in order to do this calculation, first of all, you have to remind yourself what are the formula we're going to use. So since we're learning, so let me go back again. So the formula we're using will be this one, right? So let me go back again. So the formula we're using is called using the estimate regression equation for estimation. So this is the 2 steps we have to go through. Step number 1, step number 2. So this is the formula we're going to use. And so we can write it down here, right? So the step number 1 will be as y hat star equal to s times 1 over n plus x star minus x bar squared divided by n minus 1, right? X squared x. And the step 2, lower boundary will equal to s y hat star minus s times t statistics, and the times s y hat star. Upper boundary y hat star plus t stats times s y hat star. Close the parentheses. And so now what we need to do is to figure out each component's value, right? Each component's value. So first, what's the value for s? What's the value for s? So in order to get value for s, we need to rely on the regression output that you generated in chapter 14 part A, right? So this is the result we got. So if you still remember, I just mentioned where's the value for s. So the s value is in the first table, your regression statistic. So that is corresponding to the standard error. So the value will be 541.2621. So we can write it down. So the value for I don't have enough space here, and I can just use on the bottom. So the value we need for s will equal to 541.2621, right? So that's the value for s. And then the second component, we need the value for n. And then we learn where's n. N is under the standard error called observation. So we total have 693. So 693. So that will be the value for n. Right? And then what we need is for value for x star. And I mentioned in the lecture that the value of x star is given from the question. If you're reading question, so what is 95% confidence interval of the mean consumption for the year with the disposable income 5,000 billion? So the value 5,000, that will be the value for x star, right? Okay. So 5,000. And then next, we need the x bar and x squared x. So currently, based on the result we have here, we don't have these two results. So what we need to do is we're going to use the descriptive statistics to generate statistics for the mean of x and the variance of x. So let's go back to look at our data set. So we have y variable, x variable. So what we need to do is using the data data analysis. Again, if you cannot follow, make sure you slow down and you can pause anytime you want. And so chose the descriptive statistic, and click OK. So the input range, you can go ahead, select both. So B and C column. I remember it's pretty long selection because we have 600 observations. So you can keep going. Oh. Okay, let's select. Let me reselect it. I think I scrolled too fast. Okay, let me reselect it. Okay, so I select the data I need. So from B1, B11 to C704. And so since the first row is the label, and I need to check the first row labels in first row, and then you can click OK. Oh, sorry, I forgot. So then you're gonna click the summary statistics, and then you can click OK. So now we got our descriptive statistic for this case. Let me enlarge my values. So now you can see that first of all, pay attention on your labels. Is the x and y variable they flipped is different from the example on your handout on your slides. So make sure every time you generate that descriptive statistic, pay attention on which one is your x variable, which one is your y variable. So our x variable actually is in the last two columns, C and D. So in that case, the mean value is here, and then the sample variance value is here. So right, this is value for x bar, and the sample variance is here. So now we have these two values, and then we can just write it down, right? So the x bar equal to 6498.910534. Now the x s square x, that value equal to sample variance 1001978.24. And so this is the two pieces we don't know. So it seems like we have calculated s, y hat star with no problem. After we got this value, we still need to calculate second step. So y hat star, which is the estimated value, we already did it here. So 2574.2840. So right, so this is the point estimation. So we have that value already. So but we don't have the t statistics. So that's why we're gonna use in our Excel again. So back to your regression output. So you will notice that the t statistic is using the formula. It's called equal to TINV. So once you type this function, they will give you a notice that, oh, this is the old function. Don't worry about it. So keep in mind there is no dot between T and INV. Please just use one word, TINV. In the parentheses, 0.05, so that is our alpha, and the comma, so that is the DF residual. Do you remember where to find it? So it's under here, DF residual. And then close the parentheses, so that is your t statistic value, 1.1 9634. So 1.9634. So now we can also write down the value we have here. T stats will equal to 1.9634, right? So now you have all the value you need to calculate 2 steps. So here, in order to figure out the final answer, the technique I will use is what you learn from your computer skill 4, because that is more effective and also is less likely to make mistakes. So now let's see what we're going to do. So first of all, like I said, you should already open this file. So you already opened this file, so from your computer skill 4. So the tab confidence of the mean, so that is the file we're going to use to guide us to finish the calculation. So first, let me just copy my outcomes. So I copy, or you can use this one, copy, and then I will paste it on my Excel files. I chose M column. You can choose any column. So I paste it next to M column. So I pasted. So you see a lot of pound, pound, pound. That means you don't give enough space to the numbers. So you might wanna extend your outcome a little bit. Okay. So now the pound is disappeared, right? The pound disappeared. So all your pound disappeared. So you can see the value, right? So we got this first, the regression output, and then the second we're going to paste on this page will be your descriptive statistic you generated. And we only need the value for x variable, so then we can just copy x values, statistics, and then paste it to the calculation sheet. So now we need to fill in the blank. So if you don't remember how to do it, make sure watch your computer skill 4, how to calculate the confidence and prediction interval again. So first, the value of x, so which is x star, right? So that is 5,000. So now we try to calculate the value for y hat. So that will equal to B0, which is the coefficient for intercept, plus the x, plus B1, right? So that's the slope times x value. So this is how we get our point estimates. So in the last video, we know it's 2574.823951 billion dollars. And so now we're gonna start my first step of the calculation of the confidence interval. And so first of all, the value for S. So remember that's the value here. So the S value is coming from standard error. So type in equal, and then we select standard error. The reason I don't type the value because I want to keep all my decimal places. I don't want to round it before I get my final answer. So that's why I didn't type in 541.2621 because that's the rounded number. So I just select the cell. So you can see I got the same number. So don't type, just try to select cell. So the value for x bar, so which is the mean of x here, and so that is equal to the mean of x. So I also select instead of type because like I said, they have many more decimal places and I don't want to run the number before I find the final answer. And next, s squared x. So that is the sample variance of x. I type in equal and I select sample variance of x. And so now we can follow the computer skill 4 to calculate the value inside this square root. So inside this square root, so basically you just follow this formula. So first, equal 1 divided by sample size n. So we know it is under the observation, right? You can just select the sample size n, or since it's always integer, you can just type. So the observation equal to 693 here, and then plus. So now we're going to do the numerator here. parenthesis x star. So x star, we know it is listed here. So that's the one we use to calculate point estimation. So we select x star minus the sample mean x bar. We already listed here. And then select x bar. Close the parenthesis. And don't forget, you're going to power by 2. So caret 2. And then divided by the denominator. So denominator, first of all, don't forget about the parentheses, because without this parentheses, your answer will be totally off. So the parenthesis itself is try to capture your denominator. So you can do a very quick math. Minus 1, 693 minus 1 will equal to 692, right? 692 times s squared x. So we already listed here. So that's the sample variance of x. So then close the parenthesis. So now we finish calculating this inside the value inside the square root. So you push enter. So you got 0.0017697. So now we're going to calculate this part. Take the square root. So then we will equal to take the positive square root we learned before. The formula is called SQRT, right? And the parenthesis, SQRT, parenthesis, and then you're going to select the value you just calculate, because that's the value inside the square root, and then close the parenthesis and push enter. So now you receive the value for inside the square root, So now we're going to try to get our first step's value, the estimated standard deviation of the mean of y. So that will equal to s, so which is here, times the value you just calculated. So this part, right? Now you push enter. So now you got the answer for the step number 1. We're going to use this value to calculate the final answers. So before we can calculate final answer, we still need our t statistics. You did see a little bit different from this formula here, because sometimes people, the reason I introduced a little bit different notation, because you might see different other, in your textbook, they didn't use t, they used t alpha divided by 2. Remember, this is the same notation. So alpha divided by 2 is the subscript of t. So they are together is called t statistics. Don't think the alpha divided by 2 is something you have to add on to the formula. No. So they are the same formula as you see on the slides. So let's see how to do the t statistic. So we learn equal to TINV. Like I said, it is the one word, TINV. And the parenthesis 0.05, comma. And the second entry is the DF residual. It is in the regression output. Find the DF residual. Close the parenthesis. So that is your t statistic. Now we can follow this second step formula to finalize our answers. So the lower boundary, we're going to pick the minus sign, and the upper boundary, we're going to pick the upper sign, plus sign. So equal to y statistic, that is answer from your point estimate, right? Point estimate. You chose the point estimated answer, minus t statistics, you just got it, and then times the step 1's answer, and then push enter. So this is the lower boundary. How about upper boundary? Equal to the same, very similar, the point estimate in D3. And this time we chose plus t statistics times sy hat star. Push enter. So now we have lower and upper boundary for this case. So let's write down the answer, right? So let's write it down before we move on to the question, the last question. So in this case, our answer for question number 7 will be, so this is going to be between 2530.151522 to 2619.49638. 4. So this is the answer of the lower and upper boundary for the confidence interval. So now, after we, if you watch the video of the lecture and you understand to calculate the prediction interval, it will be very similar as the confidence interval. So the step number 1. So the only difference is the step number 1. So the S predict actually equal to S. So if you forgot, let me just show you the formula quickly. So this is the formula we use, the prediction interval. The only difference between confidence and prediction interval is this actual one inside the square root when you do your first step, calculate your first steps. So now let's write it down. So S1 plus 1 over n plus x star minus x bar squared, don't forget, n minus 1 times s squared x. Step number 2. So you will have y hat star, which is your point estimate, minus t stats times s prediction. Upper boundary y hat plus t stats times s prediction. Okay, so 2 steps. So you have all the values because you finished the question number 7. So what we will do is we're going to look at how we use Excel to help us to calculate the final answer. So we're going to do the lower and upper boundary. So given you already got your confidence interval, to get your prediction interval, it's very, very, very easy. Given you know you already got your confidence interval, because what you need to do is just need to add this actual one inside this square root calculation. So where did you calculate this inside square root? So which is here, right? So that is where you calculate the inside square root. So you can notice that when we do the whole calculation for the confidence interval, I try to avoid typing the number. Instead, I try to select the cell. The main reason is because once you update one value, it will also automatically update your final answer. Because if you look at when we calculate the final answer, here, we didn't type any value. Instead, we are selecting the value we have, because once any of those values change, this final answer will be updated. So the only thing, as I said, the only thing we need to change for the prediction interval is inside square root calculation. So now what we're gonna do is, this is how we calculate confidence interval for mean of y. So we just need to add 1 plus, and then push enter. So now you can see instantly your final answer already updated, because as I said, we are selecting the cell instead of typing the value. So this makes your work more efficient. So now we got our prediction interval for this case is between 1511 to 3638. So that is the lower and upper boundary, So let's write down the answer to your attendance check. So the lower boundary will be 1511.169861, and the upper boundary 3638.478041. Okay, so that's it. So once you finish here, and you can submit, and so that is the your attendance check. And hopefully this is not just only help you to do the attendance check, but also help you to understand the concept, and also help you to be more efficient when you work on your homework and taking the tests.